go for today's number. It's June 3, 2021. 10 balls. Each ball has a number. Numbers 1 through 10. Swirl the numbers. Pick a number. Today's number is 10.
Elon Musk, on the other hand, is a South African tech billionaire who is posting way too much on Twitter these days about Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Tesla, Mars, but not that much about a certain loop in Las Vegas. I wonder why.
Wait, are you building a death tunnel?
In the last couple of years, people have heralded Elon Musk as being a sort of visionary, a real-life counterpart to people like Tony Stark or Willy Wonka. Now, a lot of people have made videos about Elon Musk already, and I'm not going to say too many things that are out of character. Obviously, I think Elon Musk is a pretty shitty dude. But Elon Musk occupies a special sort of space in the mind of the social consciousness. He never goes away. We always talk about him, either in terms of he will bring the future to the moon, or in terms of he is bad, he won't let people unionize, living on Mars is going to be feudalism. And I want to talk about the reason why he occupies this almost messianic spot. Why is he so much on a pedestal? The obvious reason that a lot of people will say initially is that, well, he's rich. For a brief moment recently, he ended up being the richest person in the world, which is quite an achievement. But he occupies a different space from, say, Jeff Bezos. Granted, Jeff Bezos is on the mind of a lot of internet lefties because we all hate Amazon, but there are a few people who think that Jeff Bezos will bring about the new age of humanity. A bit of a different mind space. Now, I often talk about history on this channel because that's what I do, but it's been bothering me recently how people discuss the idea of someone who changes society. How do you change society? And how do we think about the people who do change society? Remember how people talked about Donald Trump a few years ago? About how he is destroying the Republican Party, how he is destroying American politics. Conversely, let's talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been referred to in the media recently as a bit of a savior, which I think occupies a similar mind space. These are people who change the world. But the first person I mentioned in this video wasn't any politician. It was Elon Musk. And I think that is because that living meme of a man is a good case study for who we want to change society. And what that says about us. It's no secret a lot of people are feeling disillusioned with how politics is working. And they're not wrong. In the US, it often feels like your vote doesn't matter. A 2014 Princeton study claimed that unless you're in the top 10% of income earners, it literally doesn't. Public opinion doesn't sway Congress members or senators when it comes to legislation. But if you're rich, it does. So it's no wonder people look to rich people to change the world for us, since they are the only ones who can. And one of the more vocal ones is Elon Musk, who has attracted quite the fan base online. They speak about Elon Musk being the person who will make humanity into a multi-planetary species, who will drag humanity kicking and screaming to Mars and change society and history forever. And that is complete bullshit.
Remember the power you hold. Allow your heart to feel. Now is the time to rise, to grow, to love, to let flow. Don't bring fear into this new world. Let's align and design the life we want. This is the moment to become the creator. Be responsible for your life. Put all your magic into it. Make it so beautiful, you can't close your eyes. Now is the time to rise. Love, not fear. Bring light, bring hope. More of what you love. Embrace and create your dreams. Choose more love, more light, more dreams. Everything that makes your heart sing. When life changes, remember, the lighter your story.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is one of the more disturbing stories. A rogue killer drone hunted down a human target without being instructed to do so, UN report. So that's not good, right? When drones start making decisions about terminating human beings, a deadly drone hunted down a human target without being instructed to do so. Incident took place during clashes in Libya last year. I've been talking about Libya. Experts are sounding the alarm about the lack of regulation around using killer robots. A lethal weaponized drone hunted down a human target, the said. And in March 2020 incident saw a quadcopter autonomously attack a human during a conflict between Libyan government forces and a breakaway military faction. The Turkish-built Kargu-2, a deadly attack drone designed for asymmetric warfare and anti-terrorist operations, targeted one of the soldiers, the Haftar's soldiers, while he tried to retreat, according to the paper. So yeah, there's that, right? Drones may have attacked humans fully autonomously for the first time. When drones make decisions to kill people, then you have a huge problem, right? This should be big news. This should be huge news, but it's not. Drones are targeting people on their own. Like, if that's happened once, one time is way too many, and who knows how many other times it's happening. Where AI decides to start targeting people. I mean, once you've gone over that cliff, once that's happened, then you have a technological issue, right? So along with this, one of my viewers sent me this. Human-like robot creatures, self-portraits. The painting questions the role of artificial intelligence in human society. So this robot, this artificial intelligent, whatever it is, her name is Ada, is painting pictures of herself. And drones are killing people, and robots are painting pictures of themselves. And so I think there needs to be a little bit more investigation about what's going on here. So one of my friends sent me this. This is from 2013.
A performance-based circular economy comes in. What if we didn't buy the goods themselves, but the service? What if we favoured access and performance?
So they're pitching this idea of everything being service and subscription oriented, and you wouldn't own anything, right? Everything would be a service instead of ownership, which is the new economic plan. And this is something, again, that they're talking about in 2030. They're bringing it up now, but back in 2013, they already had this idea of something they wanted to do.
In this model, manufacturers or retailers would remain the owners of the products. Maintenance and
And so they're trying to say this is getting rid of your stress. You just call the people, they come up to pick up their piece of crap and fix it for you. I mean, they're trying to make it sound like it's doing you a favor.
repairs becoming part of the deal. Even better if running costs, like electricity, were included.
So anyways, I'm not in love with this economy. I've talked about it being demonic, the economy of ownership. I said I don't believe in land ownership because, you know, how can you really own the earth, right? And so, you know, I mean, animals, they own something temporarily. They have a home set temporarily, and then it's taken away, or they go somewhere else. I mean, this is, you know, the natural model of things. So I'm not saying that this economy, the capitalist economy, is some sort of great system. And I don't know if this thing might have a possibility of working better. The problem here is people will not accept it. People aren't going to give up ownership unless some sort of catastrophe or series of catastrophes happen. And people's motivation and their entitlements change. And so the issue here isn't substituting one system for another, which I can't say, you know, if that system would be any better or worse, I don't know, right? I know this system that we have right now isn't great. The issue for me isn't the changing of the systems. It's about what has to happen for people to accept this. Because, like, we're a long way from accepting this, right? People are, you know, a long way from accepting this sort of economic system. So some things have to go down between now and then, either man-made things or, you know, a combination of man-made things and natural catastrophic events to make human beings even consider doing this. Like, you know, maybe some of them, the poorer countries or whatever, but the, you know, wealthy countries like America and Europe, and maybe Europe might accept this before America, but Americans, I mean specifically Americans, and wealthy people all over the world aren't going to accept this idea of not owning things, right? You know? And whether it's good or bad or a better system, to make that happen, they're going to have to roll out some, you know, funky crap. Meat producers, JBS, say most plants will be working Wednesday after ransomware attack. So again, this is all technological stuff that we're dealing with. That there is a, you know, up to this point, technology has been about bettering people's lifestyle and, you know, giving them more, either enjoyment or more free time or providing some sort of service. But the lifestyle and the economy really didn't change because of it. But now with killer drones and AI robots paying themselves, this, you know, service-based economy, and all these cyber warfare type of attacks, right, that happen with the pipeline, and now this, hackers can hold these major corporations and governments hostage and get paid off, if that's what's actually happening here. And government hackers can attack other countries and things like this. So we're now involved in a whole different type of warfare, right? Where AI technology is targeting people on their own, and hacking becomes maybe the number one weapon moving forward, right? And they can wreck whole businesses. So we don't want this, you know, we don't want people to eat meat anymore. And they can just get rid of, you know, that type of business through hacking governments or, you know, whatever it might be, private, you know, hacking groups or, you know, whoever has the capability to do so. And so this is where we are in 2021. Things are starting to change, you know, epically. And so the other thing is about Fauci. They're releasing Fauci's emails My wife was saying she thinks they're going to burn Fauci. I don't really follow him so much. But it has to do with this Wuhan lab leak stuff. And now it's coming out, and JoJo, is pushed for this, even though this was something that Trump said, 2 years ago. And I never, there's always something deeper with this thing. But the story is that there was a leak of of course it's a biological weapon. If you've had it, it's a biological weapon. Having COVID, I can say it's not like a normal disease. It's not anything that you've experienced before if you have a moderate to severe case. I had a probably moderate case, with a couple of bad days. But it was the, how it affects you afterwards. This is some sort of biological weapon. I don't think it was leaked out of the lab. But there's lots of, people saying, and I haven't seen the official documentation. I know it's a narrative out there that Fauci funded, or at least was a part of the Wuhan lab. And there's some funding from the NIH to some of these labs. And that Fauci had an investment in this. But in terms of, if this comes out that Fauci was a part of that, he denied. It says here that it says that key figure in Wuhan research thanks Fauci for downplaying lab leak hypothesis. And so there's that part of it. Then there's the part of it about China. But I don't think this was done by one group or by mistake. I think this was agreed upon. And now maybe they want to blame a country or some people, and they're, want to take some heads with them. But after the mainstream media and the liberals and Biden and all these people canonized, made a saint out of Fauci, Saturday Night Live, all these, different celebrities that made a saint out of this clown. And if they burn him, right, then that, will speak to how asleep America is. Because America should look far beyond Fauci and look at all the people that have put him up on a pedestal. And if they don't, that's messed up, right? I think this is just another layer of BS. I don't think that this would have happened if it didn't have agreement globally. Otherwise, China would be, targeted for some sort of, there'd be regime change going on. If China released this virus on their own or whatever, made a mistake, then they would have to pay a heavy price. Think about all the countries and people that have suffered. And so this, to me, was always intentional. But, they're going to go to another level now. I don't know why or what's happening here. Some way of a smoke screen. But if they burn Fauci, then the American people should, and they won't, should demand some accountability from the media and everyone else that pushed this guy out there when he was always just, slimy little weasel. If the media does what it did and they push a trust, they push somebody on you that you're supposed to trust, and then all of these policies go through this person, right? This person becomes the face of COVID. They've already burned Bill Gates for it, and now Fauci. Then that should cause people to flip out about the way this has been handled the entire time, right? If you can't trust him, because, most of these things came through Bill Gates being part of the face of this thing, and Fauci even more so. Fauci was the solution giver. He was, the ordained minister of COVID. And if they burn this guy, then everything that they've pushed on us for the past year, people lost their businesses, people died on ventilators, right? All kinds of things happened, bad things happened. And then Fauci would be to blame, but then the whole media and everybody that backed him and the government, it's just that people are so desperate and, they just want to go back to sleep. And it'll certainly be a barometer for how they react to this. How are the so-called sheeple going to react to Fauci being gone? It's actually kind of interesting if he is going to move on. Oh, and Andrew Nibs Cuomo as well. These were the heroes of COVID, right? Bill Gates, right? Fauci, and Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo, what a disaster he was and is. That's just a thing about, I just saw Jake Tapper went in on Chris Cuomo's, saying it was completely inappropriate for him to have that relationship and the way he handled it. This involves CNN and the whole Cuomo clan, And then Fauci was, the number one COVID person. So Bill Gates is gone. Andrew Cuomo's is gone. And now it seems like they're possibly going to burn Fauci. And that'll be interesting because, who's left of these heroes? The heroes of 2020, right? And going back to the whole thing with, AI and robotic technology, I used to cover this quite a bit. They came out with this transhumanism model, and they used the word singularity. That guy, Ray Kurzweil, who invented the scanner and now is in charge of Google engineering, or he was in charge of Google engineering. And he was pushing this idea of singularity and transhumanism among many other people. And they thought by 2045 they could upload a personality, somebody's, essence, right, somebody's mind to a computer. And then also merge, before that there was these different stages. But this transhumanism model was put out there. There are some movies about this, merging technology with human beings, of course, chipping people. So this had been around for a long time. And then I covered also robots and robot technology, that robots have already replaced a third of the world's workforce. I mean, there was all this robotic technology out there, AI technology as well. And that's, years ago. I was covering this in like 2013 or 14, early on. I did quite a number of videos on this because they were pushing this idea, and then they completely backed off. And if you think about technology, I mean, they say an average of 8 or 9 hours a day kids spend on the internet. Those are pre-COVID statistics, so it's even probably more now. So with all of that, right, with internet addiction and, people being attached to their cell phones, and just, how technology has played a bigger and bigger part of our world, robots, once they can replace human workers, especially laborers, with robots, then there's so many people that aren't of use to the people that run the system. And of course, warfare will look completely different with robot soldiers and, hacking and all these things, drones. And so, I mean, we're going in a direction where less and less people are needed. And even though they were talking about these things 10 years ago, it seems like the rollout is going to be sooner, with the mask of COVID going on, right? With COVID and other distractions and war and things like this, you'll slowly see technology taking over, bigger and bigger chunks of human society, which to me is the obvious wrong direction with this idea of spirituality. I mean, I've talked about this over and over again, that having an internalized relationship with God is the future. And with that, people will evolve and change on a genetic level, and, it'll be unnecessary to merge technology with people. There'll be, there's all this like junk DNA, and all these switches will be flipped, and people will evolve into something better, like a higher form of the human being, with less of the negative emotions and, less of anger and deceitful tendencies and all the rest of it. This is something the heartfulness system has been talking about for a number of years. And so this, one idea of evolution is to become more robotic, to become more technological, and merge with various machines. I mean, you're basically turning into a human-machine hybrid. And the other model, which is, the opposite way, is to go deeper and deeper into your spiritual relationship, go deeper and deeper into your divinity, your godly relationship, and emerge as something more, right? Become, like a butterfly, metamorphosize into a higher developed being. And they both can't happen, right? Like, one is the scientific version of evolution, where they think, you create technology, and that technology can enhance you and make you into some sort of robotic superhuman. And that's, it's every science fiction movie and every science nerd's dreams or whatever. Enhance your mind, get chipped up, and become something of a hybrid. Whereas there is a natural evolutionary plan, and divinity is at the center of it. Your relationship with God, your relationship with the source,